Well, good morning everyone. Today's adventure started out with me grabbing my fly rod and my backpack to go out and have a little bit of adventure. I found myself standing in this field of kind of wild looking roses, listening to this robin sing to me. There's some blue jays around too, but it just smells so pretty in amongst all these wild roses. What a beautiful day. So the intent was today to come out, do a little bit of fly fishing with this 2-weight and see if I can get something. But no more than I get to the river bottom, like usual, either the wind picks up or they turn the water up. This time they cranked it up 300 cubic feet. So going from 350 now to 750 or so. And it kind of makes it unfishable if you only bring certain things. Like me, I only brought this rod with what is tied on, which is a hopper, and about 24 inches down I have an emerger. So I'm just going to keep walking along here and listening to all these beautiful bird sounds and trying not to pay attention to the guy over on the hill banging on a set of drums. So it is a really beautiful morning here. Over here we have a water treatment facility, big barbed wire fence, lots of debris and trash, and an osprey nest with no birds in it up on top of that pole up there. Right here, a dove cooing. What a beautiful place. In case no one's ever seen it before, this is what showy milkweed looks like. Really big flowers and kind of velvety soft undersides next to some mineralized plants. This kind of looks like an asparagus, this one here, growing in amongst all these other things that are not asparagus. Very strange. And then here we have a catalpa tree, a very small one, still trying to grow, with some willows and more wild stuff growing in the background. This trail that we're walking on here is just a riparian area trail. Bicycles, foot, and horse travel only. No motorized vehicles. Besides Division of Wildlife, Parks and Rec, and other maintenance vehicles. So we'll just keep walking along. There goes a dove flying up from the trail. And here comes the Canadians honking away. What a lovely song you have, bird. See if I can get the side door open on this camera. Hopefully with that side door off the camera that it's making it easier for you to hear all these wonderful nature sounds. As soon as I turned the camera on, there was like 4 of these birds all singing away. As soon as I turned it on, they all got quiet. Such a pretty little song. When I was a kid, see these columns all around me here. Another one bent down, another one there, another one falling over. These all used to be part of a gazebo. It had a nice little peak top. And then people decided that they'd just come down here and party and be destructive and ended up burning them down. And then the city never redid them because of people destroying them. So see, if we can't appreciate what we have, we're gonna lose it just like we lost these. And there's only remnants left. So do what you can to kind of help protect things and keep things growing. You know, pull your weeds, not spray them. Seems like a good place. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make some coffee while I'm here with the most complicated coffee setup I own. Okay, we're gonna need some water. Obviously, we're gonna need a cup. Protect your national parks. Apparently it's been a while since I had that cup out. It's got a little dust in it. Inside there is the next part. And then we have our fuel. We can't forget, if I didn't bring a lighter, we ain't gonna have coffee. And our lighter. Oh, and coffee. So let's see what we got inside this little thing here. It's a super tiny kettle I found on the internet from Red Camp. Real small, like, you know, maybe 5-6 inches around. And it's a really nice little kettle. It has just a big enough hole in the center to hold this Solo stove. And then, since the Solo stove requires something to hold it, I have a chunk of a water bottle here, an old water bottle that I have just cut down into kind of like a windshield kind of slash thing for it. What else is in here? Oh, once I get the business end of it, we have some kind of a spring thing. What does that do? I guess it just sits on your cup like that. And then we have another little bag containing coffee filters. So this is the most complicated coffee maker I own, kinda. As in, it has this little basket, has its own little paper filter, has this burner that I only use very rarely and mainly just for this purpose. As you can see, it's empty in there. It smells like alcohol, which is what's in this bottle here. And it rained rather good yesterday. It's the only reason why I decided to come out and make this video, is because it rained. And I knew if it had rained, I don't have to worry about too many fires except for the one I'm making. Put that lid back on that bottle tight. And we take our lighter and we get that lit. Be careful with these stoves, because it's really difficult sometimes to tell when it's lit and when it's not lit. So now that we got the kettle on, let's go ahead and pour a little water in there. That ought to be more than we need for our coffee. Put the lid on it, and then we'll sprinkle a little coffee into this filter. You know, let's just use all that. These little things are neat. It says kids conserve, choose on reuse. Well, anyways, they're pretty neat little stainless steel containers, and they hold all kinds of stuff to keep things secure. That Solo stove, when it comes to extinguishing it, you use this as, like, this is the top of the burner, and it puts it out. So we'll keep it handy. A little rubber seal in there keeps any extra fuel in the burner if we're carrying it that way. Put our hands around here, check it for heat. Seems to be getting warm. So while we're here, I'll do a little talk about this one. This is the White River CGR 6'2" two-way 3-piece, and it has this old diamond reel on there that's got a brass body and I think it's either a white brass or stainless steel spool in the center. I've got it really cheap because this knob was broke off, and I replaced that with a piece of a color pencil. It too has these nice wedding band style reel seat. I think this is actually supposed to be your hook holder ring, even though there's a hook holder here. It's a really nice, lovely green color. Has a nice stripping guide up here reinforced. The rest of the eyes are large snake eyes. And it does a really great job at being a 2-weight rod and working in around small, tight areas for, I don't know, small to medium-sized fish. I wouldn't go large on it, but you can if you want to fight for an hour or two. So there that is, and it's a wonderful rod. Extremely cheap and quite useful. Waiting on that water to boil. I can feel the heat from the burner. I'll tell you that. I'll put that upwind of it so that way it keeps it kind of shielded from the wind coming from whatever direction. This little Red Camp kettle was pretty cheap, and it was a perfect guess because I bought it with the intent of fitting that and that burner inside it to like make it one consolidated thing. Still trying to find a nice cup that I can press it on, and I can put this filtering piece on top of like a collapsible cup. But the problem is with the collapsible one is once I put the filter on it, start pouring water, they'll try to collapse. So I don't really want to use a collapsible cup with it. I'm still trying to figure it out. It is a really nice little kettle. Works great for just boiling water. I guess you can use it for cooking different stuff, but it's difficult to get it out of there. Like if you made soup in it, I guess you'd have to eat it in there because it doesn't have a really wide edge on it like a pan. So trying to get it at the right angle where you guys could see me making this coffee. Got the little devil here. Got my nice little pot set up. Water's already starting to steam. That alcohol stove really does the trick. If you're watching out there, Lewis, thank you for it. That was a gift from Lewis to me. I haven't used it really for anything besides making coffee. So I was sitting here listening to all these bird sounds, and I was thinking to myself, it's very similar to the zoo with all the different noises, but the zoo has way more noises than the river bottom does. But if you guys would like to see a kind of a walk around of the zoo or something like that, yeah, comment or something down below that you want to see some kind of other nature activity. Could try to go do some bird watching because I know quite a few areas where there's a lot of good birds. I just never have the right camera with me at the time whenever I'm down there. And if I can get enough people that'll want to watch something like that, I'll start leaving my fishing tackle at home more and just start going out and doing more nature orientated activities besides fishing. So yeah, drop some comments down below on like what you guys would like to see or what you'd like to see me doing. Okay, let's take a look at our water. Boy, almost there. We are so close. Ow. I've got some organic matter underneath my knee. Okay, so when you start working with these filters to pour water in, you want to pour water around the outside and kind of hit the filter with it a little bit, but also hit the coffee in the center with just enough water and then let it sit for a second, and it causes a little bit of a bloom to happen. You give it a little bit of time on that bloom because that's allowing the water to rehydrate. I mean, not water, but allowing the coffee to rehydrate, and then you finish pouring said X amount of water that you feel you need to pour through your coffee to make your cup of coffee. Water is good and hot. I'm gonna extinguish my fire with the little cap, and then I'm gonna pour around the outside like so. Bumped it with the little kettle. I wish I had a longer neck. And then we'll pour a little water into the center, and then we let that rehydrate and bloom for a second. Trying to get you guys the best view possible at making a cup of coffee in the outdoors. It smells wonderful. Sounds of nature. Got that little bloom done. Now we'll just go ahead and resaturate our coffee in there. It's running down through there pretty good. Oh boy, that looks like it's going to be a good cup of coffee. Woo! Almost an accident. I forgot to keep my finger on that top like that. Okay, last of the water going in. We'll let our little kettle cool off over there with the lid off. As you can see, our burner here is already cooling down. All these pieces, like this, is made out of an aluminum water bottle. It says Shorty aluminum sport bottle, 17 ounce. But it's a bottle, like, I can't remember where I got it at, so I just cut it down like this, and you could use it either way, with the slot parts down to block more wind, or the slot parts up to allow more airflow. And it works wonderful with the kind of burner. I imagine there's other ways to support something over it, but I haven't really found any yet. So let's get back to this coffee. I think we have just about got all of our coffee out of there. I'm just going to set that there for right now. Smells great. How about that? That's Arches National Park right there on this coffee cup. Really beautiful place if you haven't been there. Big jet cruising over. Me sitting down here in the forest, drinking some coffee. That's good coffee right there. I don't think you could beat that. Not at this location, unless you used some other form of coffee like this. Oh boy, what a day. So real quickly, how I assemble this inside of itself. Coffee filters on the bottom. Tiny little coffee filter holder. I forget the name of it. It's got a certain name. And then our burner goes in the middle. And then our attachment that we made. And it goes right down inside, kind of spreads out past the edge of that in there, and then the lid goes on. I guess we keep the handle down, put it right back inside that thing, and it nests really well and wonderful into this little thing. So this has got the burner, the filters, and the coffee filter holder, I guess you'd call it. Basically everything is in here except for coffee and fuel. So I usually carry around a larger bottle of fuel like this, especially when I'm camping. So that would be adequate to run that burner to cook multiple different things, especially if you're only making hot water. to rehydrate something like a dehydrated food or one of those dehydrated or freeze-dried meals that you get from the store. It's a really simple, easy way, but it does require a lot of space. And that's why the other version I make with the tea bag I like a lot more, because I can take a cup that I use as a pan to burn on a burner, and I can just heat water in it and then put the tea bag in there and make coffee, pull the tea bag out and drink it from the same vessel I made it in. This way it's a little more refined, and I guess I could make this to an extent of where I can make multiple cups of coffee at one time instead of just one cup of coffee. Yeah, there's other ways to make coffee too that I'll be introducing you guys to later on down the road. It's just that some of them are complicated, and it's only complicated in a sense of requires more effort. So here I am, sitting down, having my coffee, and enjoying the afternoon. So thank you guys for watching, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you on the next video. Leaving the place just how I found it. I didn't leave any trash. So let's get on out of here.